The NAAMES project is looking at plankton blooms in the North Atlantic and how they're related to marine aerosols. And in particular, we're doing a number of sequential deployments that are looking at specific phases of the bloom and its associated aerosols. And so the deployments are targeted at very specific aspects of the annual cycle of the plankton. The reason we're focused there is because the North Atlantic, the subarctic North Atlantic, is the site of the largest phytoplankton bloom on Earth. And we've known it's been there for 100 years. Oceanographers have been studying it for 100 years. And now, with NASA's technology, we are able to observe the full extent of this bloom 1 year after another year after another year with our sustained satellite ocean color measurements. It's hard to imagine that organisms you can't see make a difference. And I think we all kind of struggle with that. You look out at the ocean, you see water, but in that water is just teeming millions and millions of little tiny organisms. And when you sum them up, they have a huge impact. What the NASA satellites did is they allowed us to have a new view of the bloom and challenge the traditional way of looking at this. One of the things the NAAMES mission is focused on is going out to this area in the North Atlantic and challenging some of these new ideas that have emerged from the satellite realization that our old ideas have been correct, and start testing that. Which ones are correct, which ones are not held up by the actual measurements in the field. And so we're doing measurements on a ship and measurements of the aircraft to test those ideas, maybe develop new ideas on what controls this, and then link what we're measuring right at the ground level, or the sea level, you could call it, to the satellite pixel. So we can go from in situ bottle level measurements all the way to space again. We're looking at how the phytoplankton processes over the annual cycle are linked to the rest of the ecosystem, and how these linkages within the ecosystem allow a bloom to occur, and possibly more interesting, how the system can every year recreate the conditions that allow a bloom again the next year. So the whole annual cycle is linked. And then the other aspect of the NAAMES project is what are called biogenic aerosols. And these are aerosols, they're small little particles that are in the air, and they influence cloud, they influence Earth's energy budget. And some of those aerosols are actually derived from the plankton in the water. And so what NAAMES is trying to do is look at, well, what is the link between the production in the ocean, the ecosystem interactions in the plankton, and the production of these biogenic aerosols? And once they come out of the ocean, what happens to them? What's their fate? How do they influence clouds? How do they influence climate? But as you get away from land and out into the middle of the ocean, the human component decreases and the biological component increases in a relative scale. And so we're going out into these pristine open ocean environments and looking at this biological component of the aerosol. And out there, this biological component can be very important in the aerosol burden in the atmosphere. One of the big uncertainties we have is this aerosol interaction component and its relationship to cloudiness and the energy budget of Earth. So understanding the aerosols in general is very important for understanding climate. And part of that problem is the problem that is associated with the aerosols coming from the ocean. The oceans cover about 70% of the planet, right? So this biogenic source, this source of aerosols from the ocean biology, is significant over a very large portion of the Earth. And so understanding that link has a profound implication on our understanding of Earth's climate.